So in today's DAF, Chullin 77, I had to laugh just a little bit. As you know, Chullin has been a very challenging DAF in terms of people being able to stomach some of the consequences or some of the conversations of the things they talk about. And if you're on the verge of becoming a vegetarian and you want something to push you over the edge, Chullin is definitely the book to start with. So when I reached today's DAF, they had a discussion about a donkey's hide being repulsive. And honestly, I just kind of had to laugh a little bit because we have been talking about fetuses, viability, non-viability, animal anatomy, and a donkey's hide, which they said was repulsive, seemed like the least repulsive things that we had talked about in weeks. As you know, Chulin is very long. We're on 77 now. I believe there's over 100 something chapters in this book. But then I came across a little line that stopped me. And it was simply, and why was the Rabba silent? And this is the interesting pieces of reading Talmud. The Gemara wonders why the Rabbah didn't simply answer that the halakha follows Rabbi Yochanan rather than Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish in this case. The other sages seem to think that he could have just spoken up and settled the matter. But instead, the Rabbah says nothing. And that's the question that lingered with me. You know, there's an old joke that if you ask two rabbis a question, you'll get three opinions. Judaism certainly values discussion and debate. And there's also many jokes about rabbis, once they get the microphone, they never give it up. So, but here, the Gemara notices something different. Not what Rabbah said, but what he chose not to say. And lately, as both a rabbinic intern and a student, I spend a great deal of time in rooms where opinions are collected almost like the Mishnah itself. Everyone has something thoughtful to contribute, yet I have begun to wonder whether the wisest contribution is sometimes no contribution at all. Perhaps Rabba realized his opinion no longer added anything to the conversation. After all, in the Gemara, sometimes, as you know, we have Rava ben Ada said to Abba, said about this rabbi. So we have layers upon layers of ancient rabbis commenting on other rabbis. So maybe he did recognize that speaking would only extend a debate that had already reached its natural conclusion. And as we know in the Gemara, sometimes that conclusion is no answer. Or perhaps he simply knew that silence can sometimes communicate more wisdom than another argument. And we're not talking about arguments in terms of being mad. We're talking more in terms of legal arguments here. So I've noticed that every opinion we offer changes the conversation. It invites responses, creates new questions, and sometimes extends a healthy discussion. Other times, it simply prolongs a disagreement. If I'm honest, not every opinion I've shared has been necessary. Sometimes I speak because I don't want to be left out, or because I want people to know I have something intelligent to say. Really? Opinions certainly have their place. They matter in a bet din where the majority determines the outcome. They matter in education where they challenge assumptions and provoke deeper thinking. They even matter when deciding where everyone is going for dinner. But I'm finding that wisdom also lies in restraint. I don't need to say everything I think. Some of my opinions may prove to be wrong. Others have already been expressed by someone with greater clarity and deeper experience. My voice is valuable, but it doesn't need to fill every silence. Perhaps that is the lesson I took from Rabba today. Sometimes silence is not the absence of wisdom. Sometimes it is wisdom itself. And perhaps by offering my opinions more sparingly, they, like Rabba's silence, will be noticed more when they finally are spoken. So thank you for listening to my DAF today, or my DAF thoughts today.